So the final nail in Aaron Schwanke's coffin from Bat in the Sun has finally been hammered down as a massive reveal has come out about what he did behind the scenes when Boom Studios was doing a Kickstarter celebrating the 30th anniversary of Power Rangers. Now, I've had my own run-ins with Aaron from Bat in the Sun. Last year, I think it's almost a year since this happened, I made a video criticizing him and sort of calling him out on some of the stories he told, and Aaron wasn't the biggest fan of that video. He threatened to sue me, he sent his fans to harass me, and when he was confronted on it, he kind of downplayed it and tried to act like it wasn't a big deal without knowing kind of the consequences of what he was doing to another content creator, but also to someone online, not knowing sort of the actions of what he was posting online.
Well, one, he doesn't owe you a response, and two, you did threaten a lawyer if he didn't interview. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So this is a massive, big revelation. So if you don't know, back in the day, Boom Studios was doing a 30th anniversary Kickstarter that celebrated 30 years of Power Rangers, and they were selling a bunch of sort of like special covers you could get for the books. And one of the covers they were going to sell were sort of leftover copies that they didn't sell from the very first Kickstarter from back in 2021, I believe, that had autographs from Jason David Frank on them. And what Boom Studios planned on doing is they would add like an extra tier or an extra reward or something you can buy on the side to get these Jason David Frank autograph books. And all the proceeds for that add-on you would get for the Kickstarter would go towards Tammy and Jenna. So they would be sort of giving it back to Jason David Frank's family. And from what I've been told, this was meant to be roughly about $20,000 to $25,000. And Aaron somehow got in the way and stopped this from happening. So I have heard about this through the grapevine for the longest time, except I haven't been chasing this story because I've been busy with work and I didn't know who to talk to. But Henry Resilient actually got in contact with people who worked at Boom, people from the Power Rangers Illuminati, and big reveals have happened. So Henry was kind enough to share the insider information with me from Boom Studios or someone who used to work at Boom Studios and someone from the Power Rangers Illuminati, and I'll be going over those posts today in this video. So if you thought Aaron was a stand-up guy and Jason David Frank's best friend, well, this video will probably make you change your opinion about him. So yeah, this was the Kickstarter that Boom Studios wanted to do back in the day when Power Rangers was celebrating its 30th anniversary. So you could get a bunch of different books. You could get, there were hardcovers, I believe it was the archive books from like the previous comics you could get. And then one of the other tiers you could get was all the graphic novels that had Soul of the Dragon, Sins of the Future, and Aftershock and stuff like that. Really good hardcover. You can get it now, not a part of the exclusive Kickstarter, you just get a different cover. But this was a big thing that they were doing back in the day. Well, like I said, Henry posted a video talking about these behind-the-scenes stuff that happened with Aaron and Boom Studios, where Aaron got in the way of Jason David Frank's family from receiving whatever funds that this Kickstarter would have made with that extra tier they would have gotten, or those extra perks from the Kickstarter they would have gotten. Which is kind of funny, because if you go back and listen to that very interview that I called Aaron out on, Aaron criticizes Boom and Hasbro for not, quote unquote, providing for Jason's family. And actually, Aaron was the one who got in the way from Boom Studios helping them out. So we're going to go ahead and we're definitely going to read these posts from Boom Studios that Henry got from an ex-employee, and we'll go over them together. So, during the first Kickstarter that Boom Studios did, the one that reprinted all the hardcovers, Boom paid a bunch of the actors to do signed book plates. So if you don't remember about that, Boom Studios was doing the very first Kickstarter where they had the first, I think, 6 hardcovers you could get, which was MMPR Year 1, MMPR Year 2, Shattered Grid, Beyond the Grid, Necessary Evil Part 1 and Part 2. And that was like all 55 issues of the original comic in that Kickstarter. So there's a link to it. No, it's the next Kickstarter. So a couple of years later, they planned another Kickstarter, which is true. That's the 30th anniversary Kickstarter that they did here. Jason had already passed, but Boom still had a bunch of his signed book plates left over. So yeah, Boom Studios had a bunch of signed book plates that I guess that not enough people signed up for the tier or chose to get. They had been planning to reach out by using them for the next Kickstarter after Jason passed, but they didn't feel right about making money on them. So instead they put together a plan to use them for a Green Ranger tribute book, a totally separate book added to the Kickstarter. Yeah, so this would have been its own book that they would have added to the Kickstarter, with all proceeds for it going as a donation to Tammy and Jenna. This would have been somewhere between $20K to $25K. So that's fascinating. However, now this is where things get juicy. However, after Boom reached out to Tammy over email, Aaron inserted himself as the as the designated representative of the Frank family. So the designated representative of the Frank family. So Aaron then tried to leverage the idea that Jason was still upset about Soul of the Dragon, which is not true. There's been text message leaks that Jason was very happy about his title that he got on Soul of the Dragon. He was upset with Aaron because Aaron would go behind Jason's back and message people from Boom, Saban, Hasbro, trying to pitch ideas towards them, saying that Jason was on board with them, but really Jason had no idea that Aaron was doing this. And this pissed Jason off immensely. I'll probably have screenshots of those text messages up on screen, but I have covered them in other videos. So let's keep reading. Which was to be included in the tribute book. So yeah, that's the tribute book that I ended up getting. Well, one of them that was Soul of the Dragon. So to justify his demands that Boom restores their writing credit. So again, Aaron has sort of spun this narrative for the longest time that Boom Studios stole their idea, that they stole Rise of the Emerald Dragon or whatever the fuck it was called. But I've read Rise of the Emerald Dragon. I've read his idea pitch that he pitched or tried to pitch to Boom Studios and Saban and stuff like that. And if you read that idea pitch and then you read frickin' Soul of the Dragon, they are nothing alike. They are nothing the same. Aaron had a terrible idea with like corny writings. It was just one scene to another, then a fight scene, then another fight scene, then another fight scene. It was essentially like a 90-minute beatdown, you could say. He also wanted Boom Studios to replace the Green Ranger on the cover of the book with the Bat in the Sun version because that was Jason's favorite. So again, whenever you ask Aaron, like, what was Jason's favorite Ranger, he'll always say, oh, it was my suit. It was the Bat in the Sun version that we worked together. That was his favorite. He'll always say that. Like, he won't say Zeo Ranger Red or Dino Charge Black or Turbo Red or the original Green Ranger or the White Ranger. Aaron will be like, oh, that was Jason's favorite. He liked that one a lot. But Jason's not here, so I guess we'll never know. We'll never know. But it's crazy that Aaron wanted Boom Studios to sort of hit up the writer of who did the cover art for that book and be like, hey, can you change the cover to the Bat in the Sun version because Aaron's demanding it and he wants it to happen or he's not going to let us do this donation to Jason's family. He's negotiating like a fucking madman, it sounds like a terrible hostage negotiator where he wants these stupid fucking demands. But yeah, he tried to get his writing credit back, which he had nothing to do with Soul of the Dragon. That was all Kyle. Kyle wrote that book. And Aaron wanted a piece of the pie because, you know, Aaron's like a failed comic book writer or a failed aspiring comic book writer, and now he just makes YouTube beatdowns and a movie that will probably, who knows when it's going to release. But can you imagine that? Getting demands like that, like you have to replace like an entire comic cover with that Green Ranger to like the Bat in the Sun one because, you know, that was like Jason's favorite because some fucking madman is demanding it like a lunatic. So let's keep reading. Boom informed Aaron that none of this was going to be possible. Instead, Boom gave Aaron a deadline as the Kickstarter got closer to a launch date to bring the offer to Tammy. But Aaron told Boom that we can't move forward without his demands being met. His demands being met. So because Aaron was trying to negotiate like a fucking madman, like a fucking lunatic that he is, this never happened. So, and because that never happened, no tribute book was made and no proceeds went to Jason's family, unfortunately. So, Boom could have done a very nice thing for Tammy and Jenna. Despite what some people online say about them, Boom Studios actually was trying to look out for them and help them out. But Aaron got in the way. Aaron got greedy. He wanted it to be all about him and demand that Boom Studios met his requests. Like I said, like a hostage negotiator. But that never happened. And because that never happened, there was no tribute book that went towards Jason's family. And again, there's like actual clips of Aaron saying that Boom Studios or Hasbro never did anything for Jason's family. And it's funny that this information has come out and Aaron got in the way of Boom Studios trying to help them out, which is crazy. Now, I know when they did the Master Morpher, the proceeds didn't go to the Frank family. I believe it went to like suicide prevention and stuff like that, like hotlines like that for men's mental health awareness, I believe. So they did that. But yeah, Aaron fucked over Jason's family, royally, I will say. Now you're probably thinking, or you're probably wondering, Ash, what's your source on this? Well, like I said at the start of the video, an ex-employee from Boom Studios that Henry got in contact with, and someone from the Power Rangers Illuminati as well. So when you think that Aaron's a good guy or he's looking out for Jason because he was Jason's best friend, keep in mind, he did this. He did this. Not only that, Legend of the White Dragon just keeps getting delayed and delayed and delayed. There's rumors and rumblings that it's going to release on Jason's birthday later this year, which is about a month away. And people accordingly have not gotten their sort of rewards from the Kickstarter from what I've heard. So they've been left in the dark because, you know, the movie's with the distributors now. And whenever you ask Aaron online, hey, what's going on with Legend of the White Dragon? He'll just say, the distributors have it. So yeah, there's that as well. But what do you think of this? Because this is a big, shocking revelation that I've heard about for months. I just didn't follow up on it. But Henry did all the digging, did all the research. And like I said, this is going to be one of the final nails in Aaron's career. That is for sure. That and Legend of the White Dragon, if he keeps delaying it, which is going to be dead on arrival because, you know, it's been delayed for so long, do people even care anymore about it? But anyway, guys, I think I'm going to bring this video to a close. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, subscribe to the